So one of our favorite cameras at Think Media right now is the Sony A6400. We think it's one of the best value propositions with 4K, slow motion, incredible features, and it's great for not just creating YouTube content, but also for vlogging. So in this video, I'm gonna be going through my favorite accessories to make this rig unstoppable coming up. Hey, what's up? Sean Cannell here with Think Media, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And on this channel, we do a lot of tips and strategy videos, as well as tech gear reviews, just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So here at Think Media, we love the A6400, a great camera for doing professional work, YouTube content, sitting people down for interviews, but it's also a great camera if you want to accessorize it for a pretty baller vlogging setup. However, having the right accessories, I think, is critical for optimizing the A6400. So let me go through my checklist of gear right now. So first of all, of course, we have the Sony A6400 body. Now, at the time of shooting this video, that's around a $900 investment here in the US. And then on top of that, the key vlogging lens is the Sigma 16mm 1.4. Now, 16mm is a great focal length for vlogging. This is a crop sensor camera, and so you need it to be a little bit wider if you want to have a good vlogging lens on a camera like this. But that 1.4 aperture makes it amazing for low light and also for incredible blurry background. And recently, I just took this kit out to shoot some videos and vlog while I was on a trip in Austin, Texas. And in addition to my laptop and everything else I was traveling with, everything fit in this Peak Design bag. And so it's definitely not a super small kit. It's not like a point and shoot setup, but it does travel really well. And so I was taking into consideration things like weight and those types of things. So I had the 16mm lens as my main lens, but then additionally, I'm using the 28-75 Tamron 2.8 lens. The reason why is if you really want to vlog, it's nice having a longer focal length all the way up to 75 for shots out of an airplane window, for city shots, for dynamic shots, if you want a more versatile setup. And I know for vlogging, this lens could be a little bit limited because it is fixed just at 16. So the other lens I like to have in my kit is the standard Sony vlogging lens, which is a 10-18 f4. And I think all three are fine to potentially have in the bag. Kind of redundant to have the 10-18. However, because it's an f4, you're kind of stuck when it comes to low light. So I also like having this for any of those nighttime shoots. 1.4 is going to be amazing in low light. Now, next up in this kit is the small rig hot shoe relocation plate. And this is a big deal because one of the weaknesses of this camera is the fact that if you mount a shotgun mic in the normal hot shoe, it's going to block the ability for you to see yourself with the flippy screen. But this small rig relocation plate moves your shoe out of the way of the screen so you can mount a mic right on the side here. This plate comes in at $20 here in the US. It's available at Amazon, and I'll actually link to an entire checklist of all the gear in this setup in the YouTube description below. But you also should know that there is an option to go to the other side as well. There's two different plates. I love it on this side. It screws into where your camera straps would be, so it's very tightly installed, incredible build quality. And then that also brings us to our microphone. And for this kit, I'm using a Shure LensHopper, the standard version. And this is perfect. It goes right on the side here. You can get the cord in the mic jack. I actually usually kind of wrap it around just like this. Now, an alternative here, this is a $200 mic, and it's actually a little bit heavier. I love this mic, it sounds amazing. But then I've also been impressed with the Deity Mics lately. There's a $99 version that is incredibly light. It just takes one battery, it lasts for like 1,000 hours, and is got a great feature set for a really good value. And that would go nice on here, especially if you want it to be even lighter. And there's also a Pro version that's even better, around 200. So I think there's a lot of good shotgun mics out there, but this has been great with the Shure LensHopper. Next up is our mount and tripod, and that is our Joby 3K Gorillapod, the Pro version. Now, this thing isn't cheap. It comes in at $150 here in the US, but in my opinion, it's really worth every penny. If you've ever used a Gorillapod before, the all plastic models are pretty great, but if you put something that's too heavy on top, they kind of wear out over time because it's plastic on plastic. This thing is an aluminum build. It is absolutely incredible, super strong. 3K means it can hold 3 kilograms of weight, right? But I feel like it can hold even more. Great for just very sturdy. I love the feel, I love the look. And for a premium high-end vlogging setup like this, I feel like it's the perfect size and complement to this kit. Now, one essential investment I highly recommend making for a kit like this is getting a variable ND filter. This one is a K&F Concept variable ND. The investment on this guy was around $55 on Amazon. And what's really cool is this is a 67 millimeter variable ND filter, so it'll fit on this Sigma lens. Now, why is it important to get one of these? We have a full video out on it if you want to go a little bit deeper, or I'll link it up on the YouTube card and put it in the description below. But basically, this is like sunglasses for your lens. If you're shooting outdoors with any lens, you usually have to stop your aperture way down if you don't want to mess up your shutter speed to keep your video footage smooth. And again, check out that other video if this is some kind of a new concept for you. But what's cool is that because this lens can give you such blurry background even in the middle of the day, you're able to do that with this fader ND. So you can just keep it in your bag. You're able to put that on this Sigma lens to take advantage of the full 1.4 beauty. But guess what? This is also on the Tamron a 67 millimeter thread. So now you've got one ND filter in your kit that covers both lenses, making this incredibly versatile, not just for vlogging, but of course I can then also sit down and shoot a video for video influencers or create content that is maybe more of a proper video production type of a project with just the gear that is inside of my bag. Next on the list is extra batteries. You never want to leave home, especially if you plan to do a lot of shooting with just one battery. Sony is kind of known for not having the best battery life. Now the a6400, there definitely was a step forward and it was an improvement, but I've learned that there's probably not a day of shooting where I will use anything less than 2 watt batteries, and most likely 3. And so one recommendation is this RAVPower charger that also comes with 2 RAVPower batteries. Now, this is aftermarket, it's third party, and typically I like to be a little bit cautious when investing in non-OEM batteries. Like for my Sony a7 III, I will only put OEM batteries in that. And there's something about, though, the fact that this is, kind of about half the cost of that. They have great reviews. And so I'm not really worried about the batteries damaging the camera. One note to make is that aftermarket batteries may not have as long of life, but for $35, you get 2 extra batteries, plus you can charge your Sony with this great dual charger so you can always keep batteries going. I think it's a great investment, even if it's just for the charger. But if you've got your OEM Sony battery, the 2 RAV batteries, you're probably good to go. And then maybe you might want to invest in one other Sony OEM battery or only OEM, depending on your preference. Now, next up is your storage, your SD card. Now, I've been a huge fan of the SanDisk Extreme Pro cards. They're 95 megabytes a second. And from all of our tests, they work great with Sony cameras shooting full 4K. You might be fine with almost any SD card, depending on if you're shooting in 1080 and what your camera settings are, but I always like to have the power to be able to also shoot full 4K. Now, when I was vlogging just in Austin the other day, I actually was shooting in 1080. Here at Think Media, we like to shoot in 30 frames a second, and there is a bit of a crop in 30 frames on the a6400, so I could have the wide shot. I did not want to shoot in 24 frames a second in 4K. In fact, I didn't want to shoot in 4K at all. I didn't see it necessary to have the bigger file size, and so 1080 was perfect. And additionally, I love 1080 because we could jump between 60 frames a second and 250 frames a second, which this card handles no problem. And so typically for vlogging, because the sensor's so beautiful, the autofocus is so amazing, 1080 is my preference. And this setup in 1080, 60 frames, 120, 30, just all together makes this run and gun kit pretty dang amazing for your final project. Now, I actually have one other accessory that I absolutely love for this setup, and I want to tell you about that in a second. But if you've been getting value out of this video so far, can you smash the like button? And if you also want to check out our Sony a6400 series, if you're just learning about this camera, or you want to see some of our other coverage here on Think Media about it, I'll link to that playlist on the YouTube card, as well as post a link to the full playlist in the description below. But my final favorite accessory for this camera is actually this little Arkon mini ring light. Now, this is a super cool light that will go on your phone, it'll go on your laptop, right on top of your monitor for an extra light on your webcam. It's bicolor. It can change to a mix of both kind of an amber and a daylight color temperature, or just an amber color temperature. You've got different levels of brightness. It has an internal battery. It's charged through USB. And this thing only costs $20 on Amazon, right around there. And what's amazing about it is that you can clip it right on your LCD screen right here. I can still see my shot composition when I'm shooting in selfie mode. And again, I love this setup because it's more nimble than what a lot of people are doing with giant small rig cages. Sure, with a small rig cage, you could put other lights on here, but all I need is this hot shoe relocation plate, and then if I get in a low light situation, this just fits on here perfectly, making this an absolutely brilliant mini run and gun setup. So there you go. Those are my favorite accessories for the Sony A6400, but I want to pass the question off to you. What camera do you use for vlogging, and what accessories do you use? Do you have a favorite Gorillapod or Switch Pod, a favorite mic? Does weight matter to you? Does how obnoxious and the size matter to you? I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.